Chapter 161. Songwon found a 10-meter-high cliff covered by thick vines in a dense forest at the foot of the mountain. He cleared the vines and created a small cave several meters in size on the cliff. After releasing all the black armor to stand guard, Songwon took out the 9 palaces in array and prepared to start refining. The 9 palaces in array consisted of 9 formation flags and a formation plate. It took Songwon 2 days to refine the formation plate and flags. After setting up the 9 palaces in array, Songwon released the corpse puppets. The corpse puppets were filled with a sinister aura, and soon the entire cave was filled with a thick, ghostly miasma. Leaving the corpse puppets inside the formation, Songwon quickly exited the array. He stood 10 meters away from the formation for half an hour to ensure no ghostly miasma leaked out. Once satisfied, he entered the cave again and covered the entrance with vines. He stored the corpse puppets in the coffin artifact and placed it back into the storage ring. Next, he took out a blood-red empty coffin, which was a rare high-grade spiritual tool he had obtained from Wu Ren. This coffin was used by Wu Ren to cultivate silver corpses. Using it to refine a pseudo-third-grade silver corpse was quite appropriate. He placed Wu Ren's corpse into the corpse-rearing coffin. Songwon then added 4 bottles of ghostly miasma, 8 bottles of essence blood, 5,000 spirit stones, in yellow soil, in Ming grass, and other in-attribute corpse-rearing materials, as well as the crucial Xian in stone into the blood coffin. Immediately, Songwon began to rapidly cast a series of spell seals towards the blood coffin. The blood coffin gradually emitted black ghostly miasma, which increased in volume and soon filled the entire coffin. Looking inside, all he could see was the black ghostly miasma swirling within the coffin, completely covering Wu Ren's corpse. As the refining process continued, Wu Ren's corpse gradually began to undergo corpse transformation. Fangs grew from its mouth, its nails became sharp and black, and its flesh, subjected to the various spiritual materials, became increasingly tough. The large hole in its chest also slowly began to heal. The corpse refining process lasted a full 17 days, slightly longer than Songwon had anticipated. By now, Wu Ren's corpse had a faint silver-white hue in its bones. The pseudo-third-grade corpse puppet had been initially refined successfully. Next, it needed to be placed in the corpse-rearing coffin to be nurtured. Songwon sealed the blood coffin and set it aside. He took out the jade slip detailing the refining methods for the In Soul banner and placed it on his forehead to begin studying it carefully. For refining the In Soul banner, the most important materials were sufficient In Souls and ghostly miasma, as well as a banner capable of carrying both. The 8-sided ghost banner in Songwon's possession just happened to meet all 3 of these requirements. In other words, if Songwon wanted, he could refine 8 In Soul banners. However, refining 8 In Soul banners would result in a product of relatively low quality, at most a high-grade magical tool. Given Songwon's current cultivation level, high-grade magical tools were already inadequate. After careful consideration, Songwon made a bold decision. He would refine these 8 ghost banners into a single In Soul banner. This should allow him to produce a In Soul banner of spiritual tool level. He started trying immediately, following the refining method detailed in the jade slip. Songwon spent 3 days thoroughly refining the 8 ghost banners. After the refining process, the ghost banners operated as if they were extensions of Songwon's limbs, rising into the air and spinning continuously. With a thought, the 8 ghost banners slammed together. Songwon channeled his immense spiritual power into the 8 ghost banners. Instantly, the banners seemed to be subjected to intense heat, with their brownish banner poles gradually turning red. The In Souls within the ghost banners, as if subjected to severe punishment, struggled to escape but were restrained by the banners, manifesting one horrifying, howling ghostly face after another. The 2 ghost generals were significantly stronger. Half of their bodies had already emerged from the ghost banners, and they roared and howled fiercely while the remaining half was still trapped inside the ghost banners, unable to escape. Songwon ignored this and remained focused on refining the In Soul banner. During his first attempt to refine the In Soul banner, Songwon was not very skilled, and it took him nearly a month to complete the process. The 8 ghost banners were combined into one, refining it into a low-grade spiritual tool level In Soul banner. This In Soul banner was somewhat unique in that it had 8 banner flags on its staff. This was intentional on Songwon's part. According to the refining method for the In Soul banner, each banner flag could refine a powerful ghostly entity and command numerous In Souls. With 8 banner flags, this In Soul banner could accommodate 8 times the ghostly energy and refine 8 powerful ghostly entities. At this moment, the 2 ghost generals had become completely obedient, each staying in its respective banner flag. Placing the banner flags aside, Songwon took out several corpses of the Li family's cultivators that he had taken when he fled from the Li family. He had consumed many souls during this trip and had suitable corpses on hand, so it was a perfect opportunity to refine several substitute puppets. The requirements for substitute puppets were not high. A mid-stage chi refining corpse puppet would suffice. After another half-month, Songwon successfully refined 3 substitute puppets. By now, he had been in this cave for 2 months. The cave walls had been tainted by ghostly energy, corpse energy, and yin energy for a long time, giving off a slight demonic aura. Songwon tidied up everything in the cave and used a massive burst of spiritual power to collapse it. After collecting the black armored goo, Songwon turned and left. "You've been gone for over 2 months. I thought you had vanished like Sun Ru next door." As soon as Songwon arrived at the small courtyard in Huafeng Square, and before he could even settle down, Ai Kuan rushed into the courtyard. Songwon looked up at Ai Kuan with concern and reproach, effortlessly fabricating a lie. "I went back to my secular hometown. You should have at least informed me. If I hadn't kept an eye on it, Zhao Dapeng would have taken over this courtyard." Songwon feigned surprise. "How could that be? Before I left, I paid half a year's rent in advance. It's still within the rental period. How could he dare to take the courtyard?" Ai Kuan sneered. "Humph. There's nothing Zhao Dapeng wouldn't do for the sake of spirit stones. He'd do anything crazy as long as it earns him spirit stones." Songwon didn't follow up on Ai Kuan's comment but asked another question. "How did you know I was coming?" It was no wonder Songwon was suspicious. As soon as he entered, Ai Kuan arrived immediately as if someone were monitoring him. Despite having a generally positive impression of Ai Kuan over the past few months, one should always be cautious in the cultivation world and never relax their guard. "It was Xiao Luzi who told me. I had him watch for your arrival and inform me." Xiao Luzi? Songwon was puzzled. He hadn't heard that name before. Zhu Mei's son. His father's surname is Liu and his nickname is Xiao Luzi. Songwen's doubts were instantly dispelled. He had indeed seen the child from the neighbor Zhu Mei's family when he arrived. Watching Ai Kuan closely, Songwen teased, "It seems that during my absence, you've been getting quite close with Zhu Mei next door." Ai Kuan's face reddened with embarrassment as he explained, "It's nothing serious. I just saw Zhu Mei working hard and Xiao Luzi is often alone at home, which is quite pitiful. I just offered some help." End of the chapter. Perks of joining my Patreon. Com/TL. Read RDC ahead. Currently up to daily updates of 2 chapters. Mass releases 5 on October 10th, 24. 2 other stories to read. More coming in future. Support my hard work and show some appreciation. Join as a paid member for as low as $1 to show some love. And please leave some reviews. It only takes a few minutes. Chapter 162. By the way, there's the monthly auction coming up next month. Do you want to go? Ai Kuan asked. Songwon eyed Ai Kuan skeptically and asked, "Can you get an invitation to the auction?" The auction Ai Kuan mentioned was a large-scale event held monthly by the Beastmaster sect in conjunction with the Lei family and several nearby Golden Core families. It was one of the most prominent events in East Huafeng Market. Such a grand auction was not open to just anyone. Attendees either needed to be powerful, have strong connections, or possess ample spirit stones. To reflect the benevolence of the righteous sects, a certain number of invitations were usually sent out to casual cultivators. However, these invitations were often snatched up by disciples of sects or families, leaving very few for independent cultivators. In short, an independent cultivator like Ai Kuan, who was in the chi refining stage, would not typically be able to attend. Ai Kuan grinned proudly. "I've been around East Huafeng Market for decades and have some reputation. I can manage to get 2 spots for the auction. Are you going or not?" Songwon nodded. "Thank you, Senior Ai. Please get me a spot." In truth, Songwon was not particularly interested in the auction. With only a chi refining 4th layer cultivation, he would be unable to bid on anything of interest and risk exposure. However, since Ai Kuan had extended such a generous offer, not accepting would seem inconsistent with his assumed identity. Moreover, daily rigorous cultivation was quite monotonous, so it would be good to experience something new. In the following days, Songwon maintained a regular routine: alchemy, cultivation, and occasionally drawing talismans to obscure his true activities. After more than half a month, with the aid of the enhanced blood chi pill, his cultivation in the longevity technique progressed smoothly to the chi refining 5th layer, which pleased Songwon greatly. His cultivation speed was remarkably fast compared to other righteous sect cultivators, and even surpassed that of the early-stage demonic cultivators known for their rapid advancement. Occasionally, AI Kuan would visit his courtyard and chat leisurely over time. Songwon noticed that AI Kuan frequently visited the neighboring Zhu Mei's home under the pretense of teaching Xiao Luzi talisman drawing Song, when even suspected that AI Kuan might be planning to form a relationship with Zhu Mei. Taking on the responsibility of caring for the neighbor's orphaned family one day, AI Kuan suddenly arrived at the small courtyard, beaming with excitement. Have you heard? Hahuan sect has bought a building in the center of the square and is going to open a brothel in East Huafeng Market. Songwon found it hard to believe what he had heard. His face filled with shock as he asked, Hahuan sect? The same Hahuan sect that is one of the major righteous sects? The one with all female disciples? Is opening a brothel in the square? Seeing Songwon's astonished expression, AI Kuan sneered. Look at you, acting so surprised as if you've never seen such things. Hahuan sect opening a brothel is nothing new. They used to only set up brothels in their own sect's territory. This is the first time Hahuan sect is opening one in another faction's domain. Songwon still found it hard to believe that a prominent righteous sect would be associated with such establishments in his view. Even if a brothel had connections to a righteous sect, it would likely be a covert operation, as righteous sects maintained a facade of honor and propriety. The dirty business behind closed doors was another matter. AI Kuan's face was filled with longing and anticipation. Finally, I can discuss dual cultivation secrets with the fairies of Hahuan sect. What? The women in Hahuan sect's brothel are their own disciples. Songwon's eyes widened, his mouth agape, and his expression turned somewhat dazed. This completely exceeds his imagination. AI Kuan wore an expression of self-evidence. This is only natural. The Hahuan sect's purpose in opening a brothel is to allow their disciples to quickly practice dual cultivation techniques and enhance their cultivation. A brothel to facilitate dual cultivation for disciples. Songwon could hardly believe that such a thing would be done by a righteous sect. Even in the demonic path, he hadn't seen any sect act so openly and shamelessly. He couldn't help but imagine what it would be like when thousands of disciples in the Hahuan sect's mountain gate simultaneously practiced their techniques. After a moment, struggling to digest the shocking news, Songwon steered the conversation towards Zhu Mei. You're so preoccupied with Hahuan sect's female disciples. What about Zhu Mei? AI Kuan's face grew serious. What does this have to do with Zhu Mei? Our relationship is purely a matter of spirit stones. Songwon looked at AI Kuan with disdain. He hadn't expected this old man to be such a scumbag, denying any responsibility once the pants were pulled up, a purely spirit stone relationship. A few days ago, did you not sneak into her bedroom in the middle of the night and pay with spirit stones? A spirit stone relationship should only occur in a brothel, shouldn't it? Time flew by and the annual auction in East Huafeng Market, eagerly anticipated by countless cultivators, finally began. On this day, early in the morning, Songwon and AI Kuan arrived early at the auction entrance. The auction was set to start at noon, but by now a long line had already formed at the entrance. Seeing the line stretching hundreds of meters with several hundred people, Songwon asked, Senior AI, didn't you say you could get us entrance tickets? Why are we standing in line here? Can't we just use the casual cultivator invitations to go straight in? AI Kuan replied, this year is different from previous years. Previously, casual cultivator invitations were distributed in advance. The Beastmaster sect felt that casual cultivator invitations were not falling into the hands of casual cultivators, so they did away with the purpose of these invitations. This year, they've changed the rules. Invitations will be distributed on-site. The earlier you arrive, the better your chances of getting one. Luckily, I got wind of this in advance and arrived early. We should definitely be able to get our invitations. Songwon was surprised at AI Kuan's thick skin, thinking he had some sort of internal connection to obtain the invitations. He hadn't expected they were just here to stand in line and collect casual cultivator invitations. After nearly 2 hours of waiting, Songwon and AI Kuan finally received their invitations and entered the venue. However, as casual cultivators, they had to verify their spirit stones before participating in the auction to prevent random bidding. Songwon was somewhat surprised to see AI Kuan carrying over 1,000 spirit stones. He wondered how the old man had accumulated such a large amount. Upon entering the auction venue, Songwon and AI Kuan found 2 empty seats on the first floor. The first floor of the auction venue was reserved for casual cultivator invitations, with several floors above offering small private rooms that shielded spiritual senses, accessible only to those with higher status. At noon, the auction officially began. A graceful Attractive female cultivator exuding a mature charm appeared on the high platform in the center of the auction venue to kick off the event as various magical artifacts, elixirs, and rare materials appeared on the auction stage and were being bid on. Song Wen's interest began to wane. There were many items of interest to him, but he couldn't place any bids. His interest was suddenly piqued when an item called Thunder Pattern Stone appeared and he recognized the voice calling out 8,000 spirit stones as that of Lei Tianyu. End of the chapter. Perks of joining my Patreon. Com/CinderTL. Read RDC ahead. Currently up to daily updates of 2 chapters. Mass releases 5 on October 10th, 24. 2 other stories to read, more coming in future. Support my hard work and show some appreciation. Join as a paid member for as low as $1 to show some love. And please leave some reviews. It only takes a few minutes. Chapter 163. In a private room on the 2nd floor, Lei Tianyu and Ko Chang were seated inside. Junior sister Ko, your azure bull has been at the peak of the 4th level spirit beast for nearly 3 years. During this time, it has consumed a large amount of rare materials, and its strength has reached the peak of the 4th level. With this Thunder Pattern Stone, it should be able to advance to the mid-4th level, right? Ko Chang's stunning face was filled with joy. Senior Lei, did you buy this Thunder Pattern Stone for me? Lei Tianyu nodded and said seriously, naturally, Thunder-type spirit beasts can only maximize the effect of the Thunder Pattern Stone by consuming it. Although we humans can refine Thunder Pattern Stones, the effect on Thunder techniques is not as significant. Ko Chang's lips curved upward, her eyes turning into crescents as she smiled, radiating beauty and youthful vitality like a blooming spring flower. Thank you, Senior Lei, you are so kind to me. In the end, Lei Tianyu bought the Thunder Pattern Stone for a high price of 9,000 spirit stones. The auction continued. The next item was the highly anticipated Foundation Establishment Pills. There were 3 Foundation Establishment Pills with a starting bid of 30,000 spirit stones. This was significantly higher than the price Song Wen had heard at the Corpse Demon Sex auction in Demonic Path auctions. The final price for Foundation Establishment Pills was typically around 30,000 spirit stones. Ko Chang's eyes were fixed on the jade box containing the Foundation Establishment Pills. After a moment, she turned to Lei Tianyu with a gaze full of affection. Her voice as gentle as water. Brother Tianyu, look, it's the Foundation Establishment Pills. Her address for Lei Tianyu suddenly changed from Senior Lei to Brother Tianyu. She was reminding Lei Tianyu of his promise a few months ago to buy her a Foundation Establishment Pill to help her establish her foundation. Lei Tianyu smiled slightly, patting his chest confidently. Junior sister Ko, don't worry. I will definitely get a Foundation Establishment Pill for you today. Ko Chang's face lit up with joy as she hugged Lei Tianyu's arm, her full, soft chest rubbing against his firm arm. Thank you, Brother Tianyu, you are truly wonderful. Feeling the softness on his arm, Lei Tianyu couldn't help but glance down at the fullness being pressed and shaped by his arm, his eyes showing a trace of obsession and greed, as if his reason was clouded by beauty. Lei Tianyu casually embraced Ko Chang's slender waist and said aloud, Junior sister, don't worry, acquiring a single Foundation Establishment Pill is a piece of cake. But Ko Chang was not the only one interested in the Foundation Establishment Pills. The price for the first Foundation Establishment Pill rapidly soared, soon reaching the exorbitant price of 40,000 spirit stones, and the bidding continued. This was not yet the final price. At this moment, Lei Tianyu's expression suddenly became awkward. He looked embarrassed and somewhat flustered as he said, Junior sister Ko, I only have 38,000 spirit stones on me and can't continue bidding. I had originally prepared enough spirit stones, but I impulsively bought the Thunder Pattern Stone just now. I didn't expect the Foundation Establishment Pills to reach 40,000 spirit stones this year. As Lei Tianyu's bid was halted, Ko Chang, who had been daydreaming about successfully taking the Foundation Establishment Pill, saw her smile vanish instantly, her face becoming stiff. She turned to look at Lei Tianyu, her eyes revealing unmasked disappointment. With a few glistening tears starting to form, seeing Ko Chang's watery, clear eyes, Lei Tianyu felt a pang of heartache. Junior sister Ko, don't be upset, there are still 2 more Foundation Establishment Pills. Perhaps the prices for the remaining ones will be lower. Ko Chang nodded and turned back to watch the auction stage. Soon, the first Foundation Establishment Pill was sold for 43,000 spirit stones. Next up was the second Foundation Establishment Pill. Contrary to Lei Tianyu's claim, the price did not decrease. Instead, it slightly increased and was sold for 45,000 spirit stones. Then came the third Foundation Establishment Pill. The price quickly rose again to 40,000 spirit stones. Lei Tianyu hung his head, looking like a child who had done something wrong, with a face full of guilt as he said, "Junior Sister Ko, I'm sorry, it's my fault for not being able to buy the foundation establishment pill for you." Ko Chang, however, didn't seem to care about Lei Tianyu's words. Instead, she stared intently at the jade box held by the charming maid on the stage. Clenching her teeth, Ko Chang turned to Lei Tianyu and said, "Senior Lei, I have an extra 10,000 spirit stones here. I'll give them to you. You continue bidding." Lei Tianyu's face lit up with surprise. "Really?" Ko Chang wrapped her arm around Lei Tianyu's, speaking sweetly, "Of course, Brother Tianyu, if you're short on spirit stones, as your junior sister, I should naturally help you." Lei Tianyu looked down at Ko Chang's eyes and said gently, "Junior sister, you are truly wonderful." Ko Chang's face flushed and she shyly lowered her head. The auction continued and the price of the last foundation establishment pill quickly rose to 47,000 spirit stones. Lei Tianyu, filled with anxiety, shouted the highest price he could offer: 48,000 spirit stones. Ko Chang, nervously gripping Lei Tianyu's arm, started to squeeze tighter unconsciously. 2 months ago, she had just reached the perfection of qi refining. Now, she desperately needed a foundation establishment pill to help her advance as soon as possible. Among her master Che Weining's 4 disciples, all were female. Ko Chang was ranked 4th and the other 3 senior sisters had already established their foundations. Ko Chang was still struggling in the qi refining stage. 49,000 spirit stones. A new bid emerged, sending Ko Chang into despair. Missing this auction, she didn't know when she would have another chance to get a foundation establishment pill. A flicker of regret crossed her mind. Maybe she should have offered her spirit stones earlier, and she could have bought the second foundation establishment pill. At the same time, her resentment toward Lei Tianyu grew. What a useless fool! The noble son of the Lei family, the future successor, can't even secure a single foundation establishment pill. Indeed, no man can be relied upon. Ko Chang's face darkened as she pulled away from Lei Tianyu, moving to the window and clenching her fists tightly. The final bid was from someone she recognized well, her second senior sister, Ganyu, who often liked to oppose her. "Ganyu, you've been at foundation establishment for years. Why do you still have to ruin my chance?" Ko Chang muttered through gritted teeth. Seeing her disappointment and anger, Lei Tianyu approached from behind and spoke softly, "Junior sister Ko, it's my fault for making you miss out on the foundation establishment pill." Ko Chang turned around, her eyes lacking their previous gentleness, and coldly said, "Senior Lei, you've already tried your best. I don't blame you." Even though she said she didn't blame Lei Tianyu, her gaze was icy and her face was like a frozen winter's day. Her address changed back from Brother Tianyu to Senior Lei. Anyone could see that she was dissatisfied with Lei Tianyu. Sensing the reproach in Ko Chang's words as if fearing a rift with his heart's goddess, Lei Tianyu appeared extremely flustered. He was very restless, pacing back and forth. After a moment, Lei Tianyu suddenly brightened up as if he had thought of an excellent solution. "Recently, our clan has refined 2 foundation establishment pills. I can ask my uncle to grant one and give it to junior sister Ko. TL, what a simp." End of the chapter. Perks of joining my Patreon. Com Cinder TL. Read RDC ahead. Currently up to chapter 304 as of 12 October 24. Daily updates of 2 chapters. Mass releases 5 on October 10th, 24. 2 other stories to read, more coming in future. Support my hard work and show some appreciation. Join as a paid member for as low as 1 to show some love, and please leave some reviews. It only takes a few minutes. Chapter 164. Ko Chang, whose mood was extremely gloomy, instantly brightened up with a beaming smile when she heard this. "Brother Tianyu, is what you said true?" Lei Tianyu responded with confidence, "Junior sister Ko, don't worry. This time, I won't disappoint you. I will definitely get a foundation establishment pill from my uncle for you." Ko Chang's delicate brows furrowed with worry, but Master Jun is leading the righteous army to besiege the corpse demon sect. The position of the family head is temporarily managed by your uncle. Your uncle isn't Master Jun. Will he agree to give such a precious foundation establishment pill to an outsider like me? Lei Tianyu spoke with assurance. "My uncle treats me very well and sees me as his own. Although the foundation establishment pill is valuable, if I personally ask my uncle, I have a good chance of getting it. Moreover, although my uncle is only at the late stage of foundation establishment, he is very capable in managing the family affairs and handles the Lei family very well. He has always placed great importance on the good relationship between the Lei family and the Beastmaster sect. If junior sister doesn't mind, after you establish your foundation, we could become Dao companions. It would strengthen the bond between the Beastmaster sect and the Lei family. I believe my uncle would be pleased." A trace of hesitation flashed in Ko Chang's eyes. Lei Tianyu had gone around in circles just to say one thing: marriage. She wanted to obtain the foundation establishment pill from Lei Tianyu, and she might even be willing to offer her own blood for it, but becoming Dao companions with Lei Tianyu was something she needed to think carefully about. Although Lei Tianyu was the heir of the Lei family and the future family head, no one could predict the future. What if he failed to advance to core formation and couldn't become the family head? Ko Chang's thoughts churned, and after a few moments of contemplation she made a decision. First, she would find a way to get the foundation establishment pill, and as for becoming Dao companions with Lei Tianyu, she would deal with that when the time came. Ko Chang's delicate face turned crimson. With a voice as soft as a whisper, she said shyly, "Brother Tianyu, are you proposing to me?" Lei Tianyu's face lit up with anticipation. "Junior sister Ko, do you agree?" Ko Chang lowered her head, her slender fingers nervously playing with the hem of her clothes, and said softly, "I need to ask my master about this." Lei Tianyu's expression was one of barely contained excitement. "You're right, junior sister, you should ask master." Ko Chang, with a pure and innocent look in her eyes, asked, "Senior Lei, when will you be able to give me the foundation establishment pill?" Lei Tianyu seemed impatient to become Dao companions with Ko Chang. He said, "Junior sister, come with me to the Lei family tomorrow. You can meet my uncle and ask him for the foundation establishment pill. It's also a good opportunity for you to meet my family." Ko Chang's face stiffened. She didn't want to go to the Lei family. Is it really necessary to meet the family so soon? Lei Tianyu said, "Junior sister, with your beauty and grace, my uncle will definitely approve of our union. It will also make it easier to obtain the foundation establishment pill." Ko Chang hesitated for a moment, but, unable to resist the temptation of the foundation establishment pill, agreed softly, "All right, I'll go along with what Brother Tianyu said." Lei Tianyu's face brightened with joy. He took out a fist-sized round stone that was entirely black, with intricate patterns and silver light flowing through the designs. "This thunder pattern stone will be the token for our engagement. I'll give it to you first." Ko Chang took the thunder pattern stone and said with a delicate voice, "Thank you, Brother Tianyu. I've never seen a spirit beast advance before. How about we feed the thunder pattern stone to Azure Bowl now so I can witness the breakthrough process?" Lei Tianyu suddenly suggested. Ko Chang showed a reluctant expression and hesitated. When a spirit beast is advancing, it goes through a brief period of dormancy, during which it falls into a deep sleep. I'm not comfortable with letting Azure Bowl advance outside. Besides, without Azure Bowl, I haven't established my foundation yet, so I can't fly. How will we get to the Lei family? Lei Tianyu reassured her. "Don't worry, junior sister. A few days ago, my uncle gifted me a small flying ship. Although it's not big, it's enough to carry the two of us and Azure Bowl." Ko Chang pondered deeply and didn't respond immediately. Lei Tianyu continued, "I paid a high price for the Thunder Pattern Stone just to see the breakthrough process of Azure Bowl. Please grant me this wish." Holding the Thunder Pattern Stone in her hand, Ko Chang finally relented. "All right." Ko Chang tapped the spirit beast pill at her waist. Moo! The robust Azure Bowl appeared in the room, making the already small space seem even more cramped. Azure Bowl rubbed its head against Ko Chang's waist, clearly very affectionate toward her. Ko Chang stroked Azure Bowl's head with one hand while holding the Thunder Pattern Stone near its mouth with the other. Seeing the Thunder Pattern Stone, Azure Bowl eagerly swallowed it moments later. The silver light flowing under Azure Bowl's skin began to shine brightly, and the speed of the light flow increased. Whoosh! Azure Bowl exhaled a puff of turbid air, which manifested as an electric current. The current struck a wooden chair in the room, instantly turning it into splinters. Seeing the unconscious destruction caused by Azure Bowl, Ko Chang felt a bit helpless. This really isn't a good place for Azure Bowl to advance, Ko Chang thought to herself. It was too reckless to feed the Thunder Pattern Stone to Azure Bowl outside the sect. Lei Tianyu, however, had a gleam of excitement and greed in his eyes. "Don't worry, junior sister Ko. The auction is about to end, and it's no longer meaningful to stay here. Let's leave now." Ko Chang nodded. "All right." The two of them, along with Azure Bowl, left the room. Outside the room was a long corridor. After a few steps, they encountered a female cultivator with an ordinary appearance walking out from a nearby room. The female cultivator's gaze swept over Ko Chang's stunning beauty and graceful figure, and a flash of jealousy crossed her face. She stood at the door for a moment, and when Ko Chang and Lei Tianyu approached, she spoke. "Little sister, I didn't expect you to come to the auction as Well, Ko Chang looked at the female cultivator with unabashed hatred. This cultivator was Ganyu, the one who had just bought the last foundation establishment pill, and her fifth senior sister. Ganyu, you've already established your foundation for some time. Why did you still have to compete with me for the last foundation establishment pill? Ko Chang and Ganyu's discord was well known within the Beastmaster sect. She didn't bother to be polite and directly questioned her. Ganyu raised an eyebrow and smiled smugly. I was just wondering who the wretched person was who competed with me for the last foundation establishment pill and drove up the price. Turns out it was you, little sister. With a flip of her hand, Ganyu produced an exquisite jade bottle and continued. This foundation establishment pill is for my family, people like me, born into a cultivating family, have been supported by the family since childhood. Now that I've made some progress in my cultivation, it's only natural to give back to the family. Unlike you, who come from a mundane background, with no attachments, acting heartlessly and selfishly. End of the chapter. Perks of joining my Patreon com Cindertl. Read RDC ahead. Currently up to chapter 304 as of 12 October 24. Daily updates of 2 chapters, mass releases 5 on October 10th, 24. 2 other stories to read, more coming in future. Support my hard work and show some appreciation. Join as a paid member for as low as $1 to show some love, and please leave some reviews. It only takes a few minutes. Chapter 165. Faced with Ganyu's mocking sarcasm, Ko Chang's expression changed slightly, her anger flaring up, but then she glanced at Lei Tianyu beside her, and her fury instantly dissipated. She took Lei Tianyu's hand, lifted her head, and exposed her graceful, long neck like a proud celestial crane. Let me introduce you. This is Lei Tianyu, the heir to the Lei family and the future head of the Lei family, who has already proposed to me. After saying that, she ignored the astonished and envious Ganyu, turning her attention back to Lei Tianyu. Brother Tianyu, we still need to meet with your family's elders. Don't let certain unrelated individuals waste our time. She pulled Lei Tianyu out of the room. Ganyu watched their departing figures, her jealousy growing even stronger. The Lei family heir, future head of the Lei family. It seemed that all the good fortune was monopolized by that BTCH Ko Chang. Meet the Lei family's elders? I'm curious to see if you really intend to join the Lei family. Ganyu murmured to herself. In a somewhat gloomy mood, Songwen followed AI Kuan out of the venue. Throughout the auction, he hadn't bid on anything, which left him with a sense of having wasted a trip. On the other hand, AI Kuan had spent hundreds of spirit stones to acquire a decent talisman brush. Just after exiting the venue, Songwen saw Lei Tianyu and Ko Chang boarding a flying ship, preparing to leave. At the tail of the ship, Azure Bull, who had swallowed the thunder pattern stone, lay motionless on the deck, having entered the dormant phase of its advancement. Songwen suddenly recalled the unidentified 4-hoofed beast carcasses in the altar cave. He released a beetle familiar to follow them discreetly. Zhang Chang, you go ahead. I won't join you. AI Kuan's voice suddenly reached his ears. Songwen turned to see that the old man had headed towards the brothel. Songwen shook his head, thinking the old man would end up dead in the brothel sooner or later. After a moment of hesitation on the ground, he turned and walked out of the bazaar. The beetle familiar had just reported that Lei Tianyu and his group were heading towards the altar cave. Songwen had a premonition that Lei Tianyu was planning something against Azure Bull, and perhaps there was a chance to improve his own poor lightning cultivation. His thunder palm had been intermittently cultivated for several months, yet he could still only summon lightning the size of chopsticks, far from the fist-sized lightning ball recorded in the manual. Lei Tianyu piloted the flying ship, chatting and laughing along the way. It took half an hour to reach the lakeside. Meanwhile, Songwen had been lying in wait in the cave for a while. Seeing the flying ship suddenly slow down and stop by the lakeside, Ko Chang, puzzled, asked, Brother Tianyu, why have we stopped here? Aren't we going to the Lei family to meet your uncle? My uncle is right here. At this time, it was already dusk, and the sky had darkened. Ko Chang looked around, seeing only the surrounding darkness. How could your esteemed uncle, the head of the Lei family, be in such a desolate place? Ko Chang thought he was joking, but when she looked at Lei Tianyu, she noticed his smile seemed somewhat strange, coupled with their location in this pitch-black wilderness. Lei Tianyu's smile appeared eerie and unsettling. A sense of unease slowly rose within Ko Chang. She glanced at the tail of the ship where Azure Bull was in deep sleep, and her anxiety intensified. She suddenly realized that she had always relied on her beauty, thinking she could manipulate Lei Tianyu as if he were a docile dog. However, with Azure Bull, a powerful ally, gone. If Lei Tianyu harbored ill intentions, she would be no match for him. She forced a smile and said, "Brother Tianyu, stop joking, we should leave here quickly." Lei Tianyu's smile remained unchanged. "I'm not joking, my uncle, Lei Hong, is truly here." As soon as he finished speaking, he turned and shouted loudly into the dark forest below, "Uncle, come out quickly. Don't keep Fairy Co waiting." A figure emerged from the dense forest below, flying up on a sword and stopping beside the flying ship. The newcomer had a square face and an upright demeanor, giving off a sense of grandeur and righteousness. He was Lei Hong, the current head of the Lei family. Lei Hong ignored the celestial beauty Ko Chang and focused his attention on Azure Bull, who was sleeping at the tail of the ship as if Azure Bull were the real beauty. TSK. Tianyu, your methods with women are impressive. You've really managed to bring Azure Bull here and put it into a dormant state, saving us a lot of trouble. After a year of scheming and sacrificing his own dignity to curry favor, the time for harvest had finally arrived. Lei Tianyu's face beamed with uncontainable pride. "Uncle, you're too kind, it's just a gold-digging BDCH." Ko Chang's face suddenly turned pale, her fear overwhelming her, making it hard for her to breathe or speak clearly. What are you planning to do?" "I am a direct disciple of the Beast Cultivation sect. If you dare to plot anything, the Beast Cultivation sect will not spare you." Lei Tianyu's eyes were full of hot, aggressive intent as he appraised Ko Chang's impressive figure, a mocking smile on his face. "I dare to act against you because I've already made preparations. By tonight, the soul aura I left in the family will dissipate on its own. And outsiders will only think I'm dead. Naturally, no one will suspect me. After a few years, I'll change my appearance and continue to be the Lei family's heir." Ko Chang's face turned ashen. Suddenly, a terrifying pressure erupted from Lei Hong. The pressure was so immense that Ko Chang, who was only at the qi refining stage, felt as though she was carrying a weight of 10,000 pounds. She couldn't withstand the force, stumbled, and fell to her knees on the deck. Lei Tianyu, at the early stage of foundation establishment, was able to endure the pressure with some effort and asked, "Uncle, what's going on?" Lei Hong's eyes were like lightning as he scanned the dark forest below and said, "Tianyu, your actions have been too reckless. You've actually been followed here without realizing it." "What? Someone followed us? How is that possible?" Lei Tianyu exclaimed in shock. Far away in the cave several miles away, Song Wen's heart tightened with disbelief. Could it be that Lei Hong discovered the beetle familiar hidden in the tree crevices under the flying ship? Suddenly, Lei Hong made hand seals and shouted loudly, "Grand lightning." A bolt of lightning split the sky like a dazzling crack in the night. Crack. The lightning struck a dense forest 3 miles away. It split the trees, tore the earth, and released an unstoppable, massive energy. A figure was blown away by the violent wind generated by the lightning. It was Ganyu. She had followed Lei Tianyu and Ko Chang to the lakeside. When the lightning struck, she summoned a mid-level second-tier spirit beast, a flood dragon, sacrificing its life to save her own. Using the powerful shockwave from the lightning, Ganyu fled on her sword, quickly disappearing into the horizon, trying to escape. It won't be that easy. Lei Hong pursued on his sword. He could not allow Ganyu to escape alive. Otherwise, the Lei family's secrets about consuming others' lightning essence might be exposed. At that time, the Lei family would face complete destruction. It wasn't that the Beast Cultivation sect would act to destroy the Lei family, it was the desire to seize the altar for themselves that would lead to the Lei family's downfall. End of the chapter. Perks of joining my Patreon. Com/Cinder TL. Read RDC. Ahead, currently up to daily updates of 2 chapters, mass releases 5 on October 10th, 24, 2 other stories to read, more coming in future. Support my hard work and show some appreciation. Join as a paid member for as low as $1 to show some love, and please leave some reviews on web novel. It only takes a few minutes. Chapter 166. Lei Tianyu watched his uncle's distant figure with growing anxiety. He knew he was in deep trouble. He could only hope that his uncle would handle it well. But for now, there was nothing he could do to help. He decided to first deal with the Azure Bull he had painstakingly obtained after a year of scheming and planning, and devour its lightning essence. A murderous aura enveloped him, his gaze turning fierce as he fixed his eyes on Ko Chang. It was as if he wanted to vent all the anger caused by Ganyu's tracking on Ko Chang. Ko Chang felt as if she had fallen into an icy abyss, a cold dread piercing through her soul. She hurriedly pleaded, Tianyu, don't kill me. You just said you wanted to marry me. Lei Tianyu's lips curled into a bloodthirsty smile. Don't worry. I won't kill you right now. After a year of losing my dignity to please you, I won't let you die easily. I want you to experience the feeling of being toyed with and treated like a dog. As he spoke, Lei Tianyu acted decisively, like a tiger descending a mountain. Before Ko Chang could react, he struck her dantian with a palm. A vast amount of spiritual power surged into her dantian, crushing the spiritual energy circulating within her dantian and throughout her body. Her internal spiritual energy dissipated and became chaotic in an instant, rendering her unable to use any spiritual power for a short time. Ko Chang's breath weakened immediately, and she collapsed on the deck. The immense force had injured her internal organs, nearly paralyzing her. Her face was filled with despair. She was now at the mercy of others. She turned her gaze toward the azure bull at the ship's tail, hoping it would complete its advancement and awaken soon. Giving her a slim chance of escape, Lei Tianyu controlled the flying ship, holding Ko Chang in one hand and using spiritual power to drag Azure Bull with the other. Jumping into the lake moments later, they entered an underwater cave. He threw Ko Chang aside and placed Azure Bull on the altar. He then took out a silver chain from his storage ring and tightly bound Azure Bull to the altar. Last time, when he devoured Sun Ru, his strength was too weak to subdue easily, but Azure Bull was a genuine second-tier spirit beast with a trace of divine beast Kuei Nyo's bloodline. It could not be taken lightly. At the same time, he spoke to Ko Chang. I should thank you, you greedy and foolish woman, for putting Azure Bull into the advancement dormancy state. Otherwise, I would have had to put in a lot of effort to subdue it. Lei Tianyu had worried about any unforeseen incidents and had specially asked his uncle Lei Hong to help subdue Azure Bull. But he didn't expect that Azure Bull wouldn't need subduing, but would instead lead to the discovery of Ganyu as a follower. Lei Tianyu, what exactly are you planning to do? Ko Chang asked in despair. Planning to do? Lei Tianyu, while preparing to devour Azure Bull's lightning essence, said, Do you think that our Lei family, with a legacy of thousands of years, really produces extraordinary talents in lightning methods in every generation, as the rumors say? Lightning talent is inherently rare. Exceptional lightning talent is even rarer. How could our Lei family have such talents in every generation? Our family relies on this altar in front of you. This altar is mysterious and unfathomable, with the power to steal the lightning essence from both humans and beasts for us to devour. As long as one has lightning talent, regardless of its strength, they can use this altar to continuously devour the lightning essence of others and become a lightning genius. For this past year, I've gone to great lengths to please you. Do you really think I was enchanted by your beauty? I was merely coveting the lightning essence and Kuei Nyo's bloodline in Azure Bull. Divine Beast bloodline spirit beasts are already rare, and those with lightning divine beast bloodlines are even more so. To have encountered one is truly a blessing from heaven. Do you know how excited I was when I first saw Azure Bull? Once I devour Azure Bull's lightning essence, I will be able to cultivate the strongest lightning methods in the cultivation world. Knowing the gravity of the situation, Ko Chang's face turned even more ashen, with such significant secrets exposed. It was clear that Lei Tianyu had no intention of letting her leave alive. Only dead people, whose souls are scattered, can keep such secrets better. At this moment, Ko Chang was filled with immense regret, regretting her greed for spirit stones and various spirit items, her desire for the false fame of the beast cultivation sect's most beautiful woman, and the flattering words of others. If she had followed her master's teachings, cleared her mind, and focused on cultivation, she wouldn't have attracted such trouble or given Lei Tianyu, with his wolfish ambitions, an opportunity. But now it's too late. At this moment, Ko Chang's heart was as cold as ashes. Lei Tianyu used mid-grade spirit stones and his own blood to activate the formation. Though he looked pale from blood loss, his heart was filled with excitement. After a year of plotting, the day had finally come to reap the rewards. Suddenly, he sensed that the communication jade slip from his uncle in his storage ring had moved. Upon checking the jade slip, Lei Tianyu learned that his uncle had arrived outside the cave. He took out the disc to open the cave and cast a spell. The cave entrance suddenly appeared Lei Hong. walked in, carrying Gan Yu's corpse. Lei Tianyu's face brightened. "Uncle, you've killed this woman." Lei Hong casually tossed Gan Yu's corpse into a pile of rubble and nodded. "A mere Foundation establishment cultivator. How could she escape from me?" "Uncle, you came just in time. Help me guard the formation so that Azure Bull doesn't suddenly awaken and resist while I'm devouring its lightning essence." Lei Hong's usually indifferent face suddenly broke into an inexplicable smile. "Nephew Tianyu, you've done very well, truly well. Your determination and methods are top-notch. And the opportunity is also excellent, but it now belongs to me." As he spoke the last sentence, Lei Hong's figure abruptly surged forward, his killing intent overwhelming. Heading straight for the somewhat weakened Lei Tianyu's face changed dramatically, full of terror and disbelief. He hurriedly mobilized his spiritual power to resist, but with only Foundation establishment cultivation and Lei Hong's surprise attack, he was no match for Lei Hong, who was at the late Foundation establishment stage. Before he could cast any spells, Lei Hong's fist slammed into his dantian. Lei Hong's fist was glowing with lightning, and the dazzling lightning tore through Lei Tianyu's dantian, instantly shattering it. The thick spiritual energy within the dantian surged out like a breached dam. In just a few breaths, Lei Tianyu lost all his cultivation and suffered severe internal injuries. Lei Hong picked up the severely wounded Lei Tianyu with a look of smug satisfaction. "Nephew Tianyu, your uncle has taught you many truths about the cultivation world. Today, I'll teach you the final and most important lesson. Never trust anyone, not even close family like parents or spouses. As long as the benefits are substantial enough, anyone can betray you. In the next life, oh no, you won't have a next life. You're about to have your soul scattered, ha ha ha." Amidst the triumphant and crazed laughter, Lei Hong casually threw Lei Tianyu beside Ko Chong and walked towards the altar. Ko Chong, looking at the barely alive Lei Tianyu next to her, suddenly burst into wild laughter, her voice filled with madness and satisfaction. "Ha ha ha. Lei Tianyu, you plotted so much, only to end up being a pawn for others and betrayed by your own kin. You truly deserve this, even more pitiable and pathetic than I am. Ha ha ha." "Ah." Ko Chang's laughter was abruptly cut off as a blood hole the size of a fist appeared in her chest. Lei Hong uttered a light command. "Enough noise!" With a casual wave, a burst of spiritual power swept Ko Chang, who was on her last breath, into the pile of rubble, landing right next to Gan Yu's corpse. Sensing the loss of opportunity and the approach of death, Ko Chang's eyes widened in shock, with one last glance at the corpse of her second senior sister. Ko Chang closed her eyes forever. The two, who had once been rivals, now rested together in eternal sleep. TL. Damn. End of the chapter. Perks of joining my Patreon, Cinder TL. Read RDC ahead. Currently up to daily updates of 2 chapters, mass releases 5 on October 10th, 24, 2 other stories to read more coming in future. Support my hard work and show some appreciation. Join as a paid member for as low as $1 to show some love, and please leave some reviews. It only takes a few minutes. Chapter 167. Lei Tianyu struggled to prop himself up, breathing heavily as he spoke. "Lei Hong, you're attacking a member of your own family? Targeting me, the direct descendant of the family head. Do you think this is right? Aren't you afraid of the family and my father seeking revenge?" Lei Hong, sitting cross-legged in front of the altar, placed his hands on the altar's depressions and sneered disdainfully. "Heh! The family! I've devoted myself to the family for so long, diligently managing family affairs, collecting countless spirit stones and treasures for the family. In the end, what did I get? Just because my cultivation aptitude is slightly inferior to your father Lei Jun's. All the top-grade spirit materials were given to him, and I only received a few of the leftovers. Your father is over 20 years younger than me. Now he is at the mid-golden core stage, while I, at 200 years old, am still stuck at the late Foundation establishment stage. If I don't take a risk, I'll never have a chance to break through to the golden core stage. In a few decades, I'll become a pile of dust. As long as I devour the lightning essence from Azure Beast, I might be able to break through the bottleneck that has plagued me for so long, reaching the peak of the late Foundation establishment stage and gaining a chance to challenge the golden core. Don't worry. I will also devour the spiritual essence in you. After saying this, Lei Hong ignored Lei Tianyu and began to activate his lightning techniques, preparing to consume Azure Beast's essence. At that moment, another unexpected event occurred. From the depths of the cave, a silver-gray figure sped towards them. This figure was emitting a thick, corpse-like aura and murderous intent. It was Song Wen's pseudo-third stage silver corpse. Lei Hong's eyes narrowed, his heart filled with alarm. The existence of this cave was known only to a few core members of the Lei family. Where did this corpse puppet come from? Could there be other cultivators who discovered the cave and the altar? His mind was racing with thoughts, but his actions remained swift. A pseudo-third stage corpse puppet had an overwhelming advantage against other late Foundation establishment cultivators. But against Lei Hong, a late Foundation establishment cultivator of the Lei family, the pseudo-third stage corpse puppet was merely a slightly stronger evil being. Before the supreme lightning techniques of the Lei family, all evil beings would be purged. Great Cave Thunder, a bolt of lightning, twisted like a tree branch, appeared out of thin air, illuminating the entire cave. Boom! The lightning struck the corpse puppet, enveloping it in silver. Roar! Roar! The silver corpse emitted mournful howls as its rock-like flesh was instantly penetrated by the lightning. The flesh flew apart, revealing a silver gleaming skeleton. The silver corpse was blasted backward by the immense force of the thunder. Before Lei Hong could catch his breath, another figure charged forward. This figure was wrapped in dense blood and energy, holding a ghost flag about 10 feet long, adorned with 8 flags. Using the first layer of the blood escape technique, Song Wen, aided by the ghost flag's escape, moved with extreme speed, pressing against the late Foundation establishment cultivator. Taking advantage of the silver corpse's distraction, Song Wen successfully approached Lei Hong. With a wave of the ghost flag, 2 high-level ghost generals comparable to the late Foundation establishment appeared, surrounded by boundless wind and ghostly energy. The Lei techniques were too effective against ghostly entities, and Song Wen did not summon the countless ghosts in the ghost flag. In the face of Lei techniques, these ghosts were insufficient. Humph! Mere ghosts. What can they do to me? Lei Hong roared angrily and was about to cast another lightning spell. Suddenly, a flash of cold light shot towards him, aiming for his face. Trivial techniques! A ball of lightning formed in front of him, slowly becoming a small shield that blocked the cold moonblade. Great Cave Thunder. Fall. Thunder reappeared, rushing towards the blue-faced ghost general. The lightning charged forward, dispersing layers of energy, and struck the blue-faced ghost general. The ghost general melted away like frost under the scorching sun, quickly turning to dust and vanishing into wisps of blue smoke. At this moment, Song Wen and the other ghost general had arrived right in front of Lei Hong. Song Wen's withered, corpse-like claws reached out to grab him. The small lightning shield in front of Lei Hong suddenly dispersed, turning into countless tiny sparks that wrapped around Song Wen's ghostly claws. Song Wen's body instantly glowed with a large bronze shield. The lightning struck the bronze shield, producing a powerful burst of energy. The bronze shield shattered, and the lightning dissipated completely. Song Wen was enveloped by the intense energy and was thrown backward. Although Song Wen was repelled, there were still the red-haired ghost general and the cold moonblade. Attacking, the red-haired ghost general clawed at Lei Hong's waist from the side. The cold moon blade aimed directly at his head. Lightning flickered in Lei Hong's hand as he gathered the thunder but did not release it. He swung a palm at the red-haired ghost general. He spat out a green sword which flew upwards towards the cold moon blade. Clang! The sword tip clashed with the blade. The cold moon blade was defeated and flew away, disappearing out of sight. The red-haired ghost general's claw struck Lei Hong's side, tearing away a large chunk of flesh and exposing his red internal organs. Lei Hong smacked the red-haired ghost general's face with a palm, activating the thunder within his palm to send the ghost general flying. The ghostly energy dispersed and its soul became somewhat transparent. Song Wen, astonished by Lei Hong's power, realized that despite using all his techniques, he could not overcome him, but now was not the time for hesitation. Having started, there was no turning back. Song Wen activated the bronze shield again and advanced, accompanied by the silver corpse, which had lost much of its flesh, revealing its skeletal frame. At this moment, Lei Hong was also in a difficult situation. The red-haired ghost general's claw had not only torn away a significant portion of his flesh but also injected a large amount of ghostly energy into his body, rapidly eroding his internal organs. He had to continuously use his spiritual power to dispel the ghostly energy inside while fending off Song Wen's relentless attacks. Great Cave Thunder. The thunder reformed, but just as it was about to strike, it suddenly scattered. Lei Hong covered his left chest with one hand, his face showing extreme pain. Just then, as he was channeling his thunder technique, he felt a sudden sharp pain in his heart, which interrupted his casting. Upon inspecting with his spiritual sense, he discovered that two tiny insect-like creatures were clinging to his heart, their jaws tearing at it, trying to burrow into his heart. Lei Hong's face turned alarmed, and he hurriedly used his spiritual power to crush the two insects. However, Songwen would not let him easily escape and miss this excellent opportunity. The cold moon blade became a streak of light and stabbed towards the back of Lei Hong's head. Songwen, holding the spiritual flying sword, aimed directly at Lei Hong's face. The silver corpse swung its remaining bony hands and pounced at Lei Hong's left side. The wounded red-haired ghost general charged from the right, surrounded on all sides. In this perilous situation, Lei Hong's eyes flashed with a fierce resolve. He gritted his teeth. Thunder burst. A massive amount of lightning surged from Lei Hong's body, enveloping him like a deity descending from the heavens surrounded by lightning. First to be struck were the two black-scaled insects inside him, instantly crushed by the power of the lightning. Seeing this situation, the red-haired ghost general immediately turned to flee. The silver corpse also stopped its advance, turning to retreat. However, it was not as agile as a ghost, and its movements were a step too slow. The countless lightning bolts erupting from Lei Hong struck the silver corpse's back, blasting it away. The cold moon blade was also hit by the raging lightning power, its momentum broken and swept away by the residual force. Only Songwen advanced further without retreating. In a narrow escape, the brave would win. End of the chapter. Perks of joining my Patreon.com Cinder.tl. Read RDC ahead. Currently up to daily updates of 2 chapters. Mass releases 5 on October 10th, 24. 2 other stories to read more coming in future. Support my hard work and show some appreciation. Join as a paid member for as low as $1 to show some love, and please leave some reviews. It only takes a few minutes. Chapter 168. Boom! Lightning roared as it struck the bronze shield, causing the shield to glow intensely green. Moments later, it exploded, scattering bits of green light. This gave Songwen a brief moment to prepare his sword attack. Despite the continuous surges of lightning, he thrust his sword towards Lei Hong's throat, having just used all his spiritual energy to perform the thunder burst technique. Lei Hong was now exhausted, and his new power had yet to replenish. His eyes widened as he stared at the approaching 3-foot-long sword with a thought. A flying sword appeared out of nowhere and aimed directly at Songwen's chest. Rescue Zhao by besieging Wei. If Songwen was determined to pierce his throat, then his long sword would also pierce Songwen's heart. He did not believe Songwen would be willing to exchange lives with him. However, contrary to his disbelief, Songwen did not dodge or avoid the flying sword and allowed it to stab into his chest. At the same time, Songwen's long sword pierced Lei Hong's throat, and the violent spiritual energy exploded, shredding his neck into pieces. Lei Hong's head fell onto the rocky ground, rolling around as his eyes widened in disbelief. Unable to close them even in death, Songwen also got pierced through by Lei Hong's long sword, with half of his chest shattered by the sharp sword energy. With a flash of movement, Songwen reappeared 3 meters away. Unharmed, Songwen took Lei Hong's head into his hand and grasped Lei Hong's body, devouring his blood and soul. He casually removed the storage ring from Lei Hong's hand and found another storage ring from Lei Hong's corpse, which originally belonged to Ganyu. A fireball descended and consumed Lei Hong's corpse. The bodies of the Lei family members could not be left behind, and Songwen dared not keep them. Songwen turned and approached the altar. The recent battle had shattered numerous rocks and caused large stones to fall from the cave's ceiling, but the altar and the ground formation remained completely intact, which was quite extraordinary. The Azure Bull showed signs of awakening, possibly due to either nearing the completion of its advancement or the impact of the recent battle. Its body began to slowly move. However, it was still bound by chains Lei Tianyu had used, so the Azure Bull could not break free yet. But Songwen did not have much time left. He seated himself in the position previously occupied by Lei Hong, cross-legged, and placed his hands on the depressions in the altar's stone wall. Moments passed, but the altar showed no reaction. Songwen's heart sank. He had paid a great price to kill Lei Hong. The green-faced ghost general was dead. The red-haired ghost general and the silver corpse were severely injured, and he had lost a substitute puppet. If he could not devour the Azure Bull's thunderous spirit, it would be a huge loss. At this moment, Lei Tianyu, lying on the ground, suddenly laughed loudly. Good kill, Lei Hong. This ungrateful wretch deserved to die. But if you want to plunder my Lei family's altar, that's impossible. Only Lei family members can activate this altar. Let me go. Take me to the Lei family. As a member of the Lei family, I promise you, we will grant you endless cultivation resources. Song Wen stood up and walked to Lei Tianyu, coldly saying, a waste with a destroyed Dantian, still daring to claim to be from the Lei family. Song Wen's hand transformed into a claw, moving swiftly like the wind, and grabbed at Lei Tianyu's head. Don't! My Lei family has treasures that can repair the Dantian. Before Lei Tianyu could finish his words, he felt a powerful soul force invade his brain, making his mind instantly chaotic and his consciousness blur moments later. Song Wen released his grip, turned, and walked towards the altar. Instead of killing Lei Tianyu, Song Wen used a soul-searching technique from the memories obtained. Song Wen learned that activating the altar also required infusing it with thunderous power. Song Wen seated himself before the altar again, pressing his hands onto the altar, and began to perform the thunder palm technique. A lightning bolt the size of a chopstick surged from his palm and was poured into the altar. The altar gradually began to shine with a silver light, with countless tiny silver snakes appearing intermittently on the altar. However, Song Wen's thunder palm was rather weak. After repeatedly activating it over 10 times, the altar finally emitted a brilliant silver light. The Azure Bull seemed to sense a deadly threat and suddenly awakened. From its advancement sleep, the Azure Bull's eyes were wide open, and its hooves pressed against the altar, trying to stand up. The chains wrapped around its body suddenly tightened, preventing it from rising. The Azure Bull became increasingly enraged, lightning flickering from its mouth and nostrils. Its aura grew more intense, and a terrifying pressure enveloped the entire cave. Suddenly, the Azure Bull felt a terrifying suction force coming from the stone platform beneath it, firmly binding it to the platform and interrupting its imminent thunderous attack. The suction force grew stronger, as if it intended to tear apart its flesh and shatter its body. Moo, moo, moo. The Azure Bull emitted a series of mournful roars. The tough hide on its belly began to be split open, with small, bloody cracks appearing and crimson blood flowing from the fissures. The wounds gradually expanded, and the hide attached to the altar was violently torn apart, exposing its blood-soaked flesh. The suction force from the altar continued to intensify, stripping the Azure Bull's flesh layer by layer. The Azure Bull gradually ceased its roars. Despair filled its eyes as tears streamed down. The altar was stained red with blood, and the blood gathered into a blood serpent that crawled up Song Wen's arm and then entered his mouth. Song Wen did not experience the excruciating pain that Lei Tianyu had when he swallowed the blood serpent. As soon as the blood serpent entered Song Wen's body, it was rapidly devoured, transforming into pure, refined blood. An indescribable, intangible spiritual essence was also absorbed by Song Wen. After a quarter of an hour, Song Wen stood up, looking at the Azure Bull's mangled body with a smile on his lips. He could clearly sense that his understanding of thunder laws had suddenly become clearer. Previously, using Thunder Palm was like groping in layers of fog, but now he had a clear comprehension of it, as if the fog had lifted with a thought. A lightning bolt the size of a bowl appeared in his palm. The thunder palm in his hand was several times larger than the fist-sized thunder palm described in the Jade Slips song. Wen smiled in satisfaction. The spiritual beast with the bloodline of the divine beast Kuei Nyo indeed allowed him to become a rare genius in thunder laws by devouring the Azure Bull's thunderous essence. No wonder Lei Tianyu went to such lengths and Lei Hong betrayed his clan to obtain the Azure Bull's thunder essence. Song Wen approached the unconscious Lei Tianyu, waved his hand, and a surge of spiritual power drew him onto the altar. Lei Tianyu had absorbed a lot of thunder essence from others, so he had a substantial amount of thunder essence within him, making him a thunder genius, and Song Wen could not afford to waste it. Lei Hong's plan to spare Lei Tianyu was also based on this idea. Following Lei Tianyu's memories, Song Wen activated the formation and the altar again. After being forcibly soul-searched, Most people's souls would be damaged and become foolish, however. Lei Tianyu was fortunate in that his soul was rare and undamaged. But he was very unlucky as well. After the altar was activated, he woke up, seeing himself lying on the altar and the lightning flashing on it. Lei Tianyu was filled with fear. This scene was all too familiar to him in the past. Others lay on the altar while he sat beside it, devouring their essence. This time, it was reversed. He was lying on the altar, providing his essence for others to devour. Don't, please spare me. My father is the renowned thunderstorm master Lei Jun. If you spare me, he will surely reward you with a great amount of spirit stones and treasures. Songwen remained unmoved, feeling the increasing suction force from the altar. With his back being torn apart, Lei Tianyu screamed in agony, "You can't kill me. My Lei family's ancestor is a nascent soul powerhouse. The ancestor is very fond of me. And I have a fragment of his divine soul. If you kill me, you won't escape the ancestor's pursuit." End of the chapter. Perks of joining my Patreon. Com/CinderTL. Read RDC ahead. Currently up to daily updates of 2 chapters. Mass releases 5 on October 10th, 24. 2 other stories to read, more coming in future. Support my hard work and show some appreciation. Join as a paid member for as low as 1 to show some love, and please leave some reviews. It only takes a few minutes. Chapter 169. Please, don't kill me. The excruciating pain of being torn apart, with flesh being stripped layer by layer, made Lei Tianyu lose all pride. As the scion of the Lei family, he repeatedly begged for mercy. His cries were like the mournful roars of those cultivators he had previously consumed, akin to Sun Ru's desperate pleas before death. His screams grew more desperate and hysterical. Moments later, the thunder essence within Lei Tianyu was consumed by Songwen, along with his soul and a powerful divine consciousness. A powerful divine consciousness sent a tremor through Songwen. "You wretched creature. How dare you kill the Lei family's direct bloodline? I will make you pay." The divine consciousness transformed into a surging torrent, rushing towards Songwen's sea of consciousness, as if it intended to drag Songwen's mind into an endless abyss. An immense, boundless black hole suddenly appeared in Songwen's sea of consciousness. "What is this thing?" The divine consciousness emitted a fearful voice. Soon after, the divine consciousness, in the form of a mental flood, was completely swallowed by the black hole. Songwen felt a sharp pain in his mind, nearly causing him to fall. Although the divine consciousness was devoured by the black hole, the powerful mental flood it had created still caused Songwen's sea of consciousness to tremble, causing excruciating headaches. 2,000 miles away, in the depths of the Lei family's stronghold, within a several thousand-meter-high mountain, there was an old wooden house. Inside the wooden house, an elderly man with a vigorous spirit opened his eyes, his gaze sharp as lightning, looking northeast. "Tianyu is dead. The divine consciousness left on him has also dissipated. Who killed him? I sense that the person's cultivation is not strong. How could they extinguish my divine consciousness? The divine consciousness last saw that black hole. What is that about? This is bad." The stone slab at the altar entrance is still on Tianyu. This item must not be lost. At this moment, he was unaware that Lei Tianyu had died in the altar's cave, and the altar had already been exposed. The old man's thoughts moved, and he vanished from the wooden house. The sudden appearance of the divine consciousness made Songwen's heart race, and a strong sense of unease rose, his heart pounding. But Songwen did not lose his composure. He quickly removed Lei Tianyu's storage ring and grabbed the body, tossing it next to the corpses of Ko Chang and Ganyu in the debris pit. With a casual wave, the storage bag from Ko Chang flew into the air and landed near Songwen. At the same time, Songwen produced a stone disc. As soon as the disc was in his hand, Songwen noticed that it had a spiritual imprint. The aura of this imprint was the same as the divine consciousness from Lei Tianyu, indicating it came from the same person. After devouring the spiritual imprint on the disc, Songwen performed several incantations on it. The method to activate the disc was derived from Lei Tianyu's memories. A hole, 1 zhang wide, appeared in the nearby rock wall. Songwen leaped towards the hole while also throwing 3 fireballs into the debris pit to ignite the bodies of Lei Tianyu, Ko Chang, and Ganyu. Within a few breaths, the 3 corpses were reduced to ashes. After exiting the hole, Songwen used several incantations on the disc, and the entrance behind him disappeared, reverting to a rock wall. He put away the disc and rushed through the underwater cave towards the lake. While hurrying, he took out Lei Tianyu and Lei Hong's storage rings, used his spiritual sense to check that there were no residual spiritual imprints in the items, and then securely stored them. After checking the storage rings, Songwen exited the cave and arrived at the edge of the large lake. Without slowing down, he continued to dart towards the deeper parts of the lake. After traveling more than 30 miles underwater, Songwen suddenly sensed a turtle-like demon beast, the size of a grinding stone, in the silt. The turtle demon was very weak. At the chi refining stage, Songwen moved directly towards the turtle demon and, upon getting closer, used a burst of spiritual power to knock it unconscious. He submerged into the silt, placing the turtle demon above him. Songwen controlled his body, suppressing his aura, and became as still as a stone. Moments later, Songwen sensed a powerful and vast spiritual consciousness sweep over him, making him feel alarmed and uneasy. The owner of the divine consciousness had indeed arrived. The spiritual consciousness swept back and forth around the lakebed several times, finding nothing. Perhaps the owner of the consciousness thought the lakebed had been thoroughly searched and that the culprit was not there, so the consciousness vanished. Songwen remained hidden under the large rock, not relaxing or moving even a bit despite the disappearance of the spiritual consciousness. After a quarter of an hour, the spiritual consciousness returned, searching the lakebed again several times before disappearing. Lei Yu hovered in the air, frowning. He had scanned the area within 100 miles multiple times and found no trace of any living beings. Below him, a large pit remained, with residual thunder power from Lei Hong's pursuit of Ganyu. The lingering aura around the pit indicated that Lei Hong had also been here recently, with Lei Tianyu dead here and Lei Hong having been here too. Lei Yu had a vague feeling that Lei Hong had likely encountered some mishap. After pondering for a moment with no results, Lei Yu teleported back to the waterlogged stone wall at the altar's cave entrance. The deaths of Lei Tianyu and Lei Hong were not crucial for the Lei family, but if the altar was exposed, it would be a devastating blow to the family. Lei Yu looked at the intact rock wall in front of him and hesitated. Without the stone disc, breaking into the cave would require forceful destruction of the rock wall. If the rock wall were broken, the ancient formation on it would be disrupted, allowing lake water to flood into the cave, which would not be in the Lei family's interest. Moreover, he was not confident he could break through the rock wall. Lei Yu teleported again, rising to the surface of the lake. He stared at the ground near the lake for a while, calculating the approximate location of the altar cave, and then flew towards the land. After flying a few miles, Lei Yu stopped and a long sword appeared in front of him. Without any visible movement, the sword began to emit sword light and sword energy. The long sword, as fast as lightning, plunged into the earth. The thick and solid ground was easily pierced by the long sword. Reaching deep into the earth, the sword penetrated the over 100-meter thick rock layer and directly entered the altar cave. The long sword moved back and forth in the rock layer several times, gradually creating a straight vertical tunnel large enough for passage. Lei Yu jumped into the vertical tunnel and entered the altar cave. End of the chapter. Perks of joining my Patreon.com Cinder read RDC ahead. Currently up to daily updates of 2 chapters. Mass releases 5 on October 10th, 24. 2 other stories to read more coming in future. Support my hard work and show some appreciation. Join as a paid member for as low as $1 to show some love, and please leave some reviews. It only takes a few minutes. Chapter 170. The altar in this cave has a mysterious origin, and it is impossible to determine who built it. However, judging by its array patterns and the altar's design, it is clear that the altar has existed for an extraordinarily long time. Approximately 2,000 years ago, at that time, there was only a chi-refining loose cultivator from the Lei family who accidentally entered the cave by reaching a stone wall and found a stone disc that could open the wall by chance. He entered the cave and discovered the altar. On the altar, he obtained a jade slip of a cultivation method, which contained a thunder technique known as the Thunder Sutra. The jade slip not only included various thunder-based spells in the cultivation world, but also 9 legendary thunder secrets. These 9 thunder secrets correspond to the 9 great realms of cultivation. Each time a realm is advanced, one could cultivate a specific thunder technique. The Lei family ancestor, who obtained the Thunder Sutra, began to cultivate the first thunder secret, known as the Polar God Thunder. The Lei family's ancestor had considerable talent for thunder techniques, and it wasn't long before he perfected the Polar God Thunder with the power of the Polar God Thunder. The Lei family ancestor rapidly rose to prominence. Within a few years, he reached foundation establishment, but he was not satisfied and began to study the altar's purpose. After extensive research, he found nothing. It wasn't until he brought a dying enemy into the cave and accidentally activated the altar, consuming the enemy's thunder essence, that he discovered the altar's function. Afterward, The Lei family ancestor began to kidnap cultivators with thunder talent and bring them to the cave to devour their thunder essence. As more and more cultivators were consumed, the Lei family's thunder techniques grew stronger, and the family began to emerge prominently in the cultivation world, establishing a cultivating family. Due to the lack of spiritual energy near the altar cave, it was not suitable as a family residence. Thus, the Lei family ancestor established their residence on a high mountain with abundant spiritual energy. 100 miles away, the altar was mysterious. Even when activated and devouring others' thunder essence, it did not emit any spiritual fluctuations. Even nascent soul cultivators could not detect it, so the Lei family was not afraid of the altar being discovered by outsiders. As the Lei family grew stronger, the initial family residence gradually could not meet the spiritual needs of many cultivators, and the family moved their residence to a more spiritually rich location. After several hundred years, the first ancestor of the Lei family passed away due to old age. A descendant had the sudden idea of using thunder beast demons instead of cultivators with thunder talent. The Lei family discovered that the thunder essence in demon beasts could also be devoured like humans, only living. Demon beasts could have their thunder essence consumed. However, thunder beast demons were rare, and those with outstanding thunder talent were even rarer. Most thunder-talented demon beasts were powerful and hard to capture with the aid of the altar. Each generation of the Lei family produced at least one person with extraordinary thunder talent. Further strengthening the family, there were once righteous sects that attempted to obtain the 9 great thunder secrets from the Lei family. These sects found that the power of the first 2 thunder secrets, which they had difficulty acquiring, was not as great as imagined and significantly weaker compared to the Lei family members over time. Rumors spread in the cultivation world that the 9 great thunder secrets could only unleash their true power when cultivated by the Lei family bloodline. As the Lei family grew stronger and produced nascent soul experts, no one dared to seek the 9 great thunder secrets anymore. Lei Yu carefully examined the area around the altar, discovering the ashes left by Lei Hong and the remnants in the debris pit. From the residual aura in the air, he deduced that recently there were 4 people and 1 beast in this place, including Lei Hong and Lei Tianyu. The air still carried a strong aura of demonic corpse cultivators. It was highly likely that Lei Hong and Lei Tianyu were killed by these corpse cultivators. The other 2 among the 4 people were probably righteous cultivators, and since they were female cultivators, they were likely also dead. The reason for this judgment was that he could sense residual soul fragments that had not yet dissipated, belonging to the 2 female cultivators. As for Lei Hong and Lei Tianyu, no soul fragments remained. Lei Yu raised his right hand and slowly traced a path in the air. A gentle spiritual force began to circulate through the cave. Moments later, several weak light spots converged from all directions into his hand. Lei Yu muttered incantations, repeatedly forming hand seals towards the light spots. After several breaths, Lei Yu's complexion grew somewhat pale, and his aura weakened considerably. This cursed soul chain technique is truly too consuming of mana. Just a few fragments of souls have drained nearly half of my energy. From the fragments of the souls, Lei Yu learned some simple information about what the 2 people saw before their deaths. He discovered that the 2 individuals were killed by Lei Hong, and that Lei Hong had attacked Lei Tianyu. However, the information he most wanted to know, which was about the corpse cultivator, was not present. Could it be that these 2 female cultivators did not see the corpse cultivator before their deaths? Lei Yu continued to search carefully around the altar but found no additional clues. He then flew deeper into the cave to search slowly within. After a quarter of an hour, he discovered a vertical tunnel dug by Song One. Passing through the tunnel, he arrived at a cave within the mountain. In the cave, he searched around but found nothing. He used stones from the cave to block the vertical tunnel and then left the cave. Lei Yu hovered in the air and used his powerful spiritual sense to sweep the surrounding area. To his disappointment, he still did not find any traces left by the corpse cultivator. After standing in midair for a long time, Lei Yu shook his head in disappointment. He flew to a large mountain, slashed with a sword, and cut a 100-meter-long stone block. Lei Yu dragged the stone block to block the vertical tunnel he had opened, then used his hand to disturb the nearby soil, making it impossible for anyone to detect any anomalies. After covering up everything, Lei Yu flew back to the Lei family's residence. Tracking down the corpse cultivator would be left to the Lei family's younger generation. The location was too close to Donghua City, where loose cultivators were gathered. Finding a corpse cultivator who intended to hide among them, even if they were a nascent soul cultivator, would not be easy currently. The most likely places the corpse cultivator would go are either Donghua City or the Ghost Canyon TL. Donghua City is where East Huafeng Market is located. Ghost Canyon is where the Ghost Mark H154 is located. Donghua City is the largest city nearby, a distribution center for spiritual stones, elixirs, and other treasures. The corpse cultivator might have gone there to sell the loot from his killings. Investigating Donghua City might yield some clues. Ghost Canyon is a mixed place with demons and occasional demonic cultivators. It is also possible to find traces of the corpse cultivator there, of course. Lei Yu did not need to do these things personally. The Lei family had properties in both Donghua City and Ghost Canyon, and he instructed his subordinates. Many younger members of the Lei family would go investigate. Song Wen had been hiding at the bottom of the lake for 2 full days. When he saw that the aura of Hao Ran had not appeared again, he released a black armored worm. The black armored worm slowly surfaced and, after confirming that there was no one around, crawled up the lake shore. It crawled around a few miles but found no further clues. It then flew into the sky, using its vision to scan the surrounding area for several dozen miles but saw no one. Songwen breathed a slight sigh of relief after crawling out of the riverbed. Songwen did not use spiritual energy but relied on his strong physique to slowly advance from the bottom of the lake. The underwater resistance was great, and Songwen could only cover a few miles in an hour. After walking at the bottom of the lake for 2 days and covering nearly 200 miles, he finally crawled up the lake shore. After drying the water off his body, Songwen oriented himself and, avoiding the direction of the altar cave, proceeded calmly towards Donghua City. End of the chapter. Perks of joining my Patreon. Com Cinder TL. Read RDC ahead currently. Up to daily updates of 2 chapters, mass releases 5 on October 10th, 24, 2 other stories to read, more coming in future. Support my hard work and show some appreciation. Join as a paid member for as low as $1 to show some love. And please leave some reviews, it only takes a few minutes.